Director from District 100. Wow, she's known for her talks on the DNA blueprint, blind nutrition, stress and burnout, and on sleep. Wow. Do you find sometimes that you feel stressed out, overworked, tired, or maybe feeling old? No, I'm not old. No way. Nonetheless, she's going to give us an amazing talk tonight. I heard it last week, and I'm still looking into it. So if I pay attention to a speaker on something I heard a week ago, you know it's good. Please join me in welcoming the immediate past District Director from District 100, Judi Bicknell.
Hey, everybody. You know, it's just really exciting to know that not only are we getting our leadership skills taken care of, we're also here getting our money in order. So now you got to take care of your health because you want to be around long enough to spend those millions of dollars that Sharif is helping us all build, right? Because that's what's important in our lives today, is to be here to spend that money. Well, one of the things that's so important nowadays is your health. And one of the things that we found is there is a lot of different things going on in the health industry. And there's some new things that are truly revolutionizing health. So I'll share with you a shortened version of what it's all about and how DNA can really make a difference for you. Let's see if I can do this again. Lo and behold, the magic of technology. So DNA, 3 little letters that can truly change your world. They can make a difference in your health and how you live it and the longevity of your health. First of all, I am not a medical professional. I do not practice medicine. I am just an advocate for health and wellness and an educator. So here's the official statement. This content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health providers. With any questions you may have regarding a medical condition, never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard or seen. Voila, that's the official part out of the way. Now that that's out of the way, you know, some of you may know me, some of you may not. Yes, this really is my blue hair. It's all about leadership, which David talks so much about. And last year, my team did an amazing thing. And so my challenge was I would dye my hair blue for them. And I did. I used to be a mortgage banker. So when Sharif talks about numbers, it doesn't go over my head. It gets me really excited because I love numbers. And more than numbers, I love money. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. So I was pretty healthy back then. I exercised every day. I worked 50 plus hours a week. I burned the candle at both ends. So what happened? Well, I got sick. I got what I thought was just the standard everyday flu. It didn't go away. So I went to the doctor. They ran a million of tests. And I don't know if you guys have ever had a lot of medical tests ran, but when you get all those tests, you have to wait for the results. And waiting for test results is like anxiety on super stress steroids. When I finally got to go to the doctor to get the results of my tests, it was good to know that my doctor said, well, first of all, it's not the worst like we had worried or we had feared. Nope. He said, it's this other little thing. You have this thing called fibromyalgia. Well, back then, you know, more than 15 years ago, nobody even knew what it was, let alone could pronounce this damn thing. So my first reaction was, great, give me a shot, give me a pill, because I need to get back to work. And he just shook his head and said, you know, it's not really going to work like that. We don't know what it is. We don't know how to treat it. And most likely it'll get worse. Well, guess what? I'm one of those people that you don't sit there and tell me you can't. I don't know about you, but I know there's some really good fighters in here. I know Greg's one. I know David's one. But have you ever got that feeling when somebody told you you couldn't do something and you get that feeling inside that just rises up and it says, oh yeah, no, you can't tell me I can't do that. I'm going to show you how it's done. Well, that's how I got. So I took off with a vengeance, thinking I'm going to find a way to make this happen. I'm going to find the answers. Well, unfortunately, it did get worse. And one of the things that you learn to live with is the pain and the stress and the loss of memory. Some of the things that my kids thought were quite humorous was you'd walk into the kitchen and you can't remember why you're there. Hours later, I'd hear one of my kids yell, "Mom, found your coffee. It's in the cupboard next to the cereal bowls." Yeah, funny, not funny. Well, those kinds of things really keep you challenged and really keep you looking. So what makes the difference? Well, for years, I chased every cure, everything that I could find. And the one thing that I know more than anything is that experience is one of the best educators there is. Now, have any of you been skydiving before? Anybody? Maybe? No? Well, neither have I. So you can read about skydiving and you can read about what it's like, but you're not going to have that same experience, that same knowledge as that person that actually jumps out of the plane. That's a big difference. That's going to give you a life experience that nobody else can have. Well, I went through all of the different trials and tribulations. I did all the Western medicine. That gave a whole brand new definition to the word side effects. I did all the Eastern medicine. Some of those treatments were absolutely fascinating. I even did some treatments that don't even really have a category. No, don't ask what those are. I can't even tell you. I've also did pain management therapy. That was always fun. I'd go in there and I'd tell them, oh, it hurts when I do this. And they would look at me and say, well, then don't do that. A lot of these things didn't help. But over the years, I was able to find the answers, to have the experiences, to actually change the things in my life and to come out ahead of it. Restoring your health and creating longevity is really important for most people. I know it is for me. So why is it that a man can smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, drink a 6-pack of beer a day, and yet he can live to be the age of 88? While a woman can exercise every day, live a healthy lifestyle, be a vegetarian, and die at the age of 40. Genetics. Your genetics can determine a lot on the longevity and your health span for your life. Your body is made up of genes, anywhere from 20 to 25,000 according to the Human Genome Project. And in those genes, there are things that are called SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphisms. Those will help determine if there's variance in your genes, weaknesses, things that can be dealt with. Now, of these genes, they were able to find in the research that there are 18 actionable genes. Actionable genes meaning that you can actually turn them on and off like a light switch. Wouldn't that be nice? You don't like something, turn it off. You need more energy, turn it back on. That's what an actionable gene is. So what do you do about these actionable genes? What are you going to do to make a difference? Well, a lot of the things in our body show up as symptoms. They're kind of like a warning light on a dashboard. So let's say, for instance, you feel achy, you feel old, you feel tired, you have no energy. Those are those little warning lights on your dashboard telling you to do something about it. Now, if you ignore those lights on your dashboard, what happens? Something bigger usually breaks down. And then what happens? When our body starts to break down, we do what we always do. We go looking for that magic pill. I don't know about you guys. I'm not a really big social media fan, but a lot of times you'll find people scrolling on social media or Instagram, and all of a sudden, the magic answer pops up there in your scroll. You know, this super juice, it really gives you more energy than anything. Or maybe your friend tells you, oh, you know, at our age, we should all be on CoQ10. It's the thing that gives you a healthy heart. You want a healthy heart, don't you? You should take it. Do you even know why you should take it? How do you know what's the right fuel for you? Well, if you're like most of us, you go out there and you try the CoQ10. Anybody out there try that magic berry juice, the goji berry juice, or the what was the other one? The melaleuca, or maybe turmeric. Turmeric's another hot topic right now because they're supposed to be healthy for us and they're supposed to help support us. Well, basically, you're now doing what so many of us do. You're running through blind nutrition. So blind nutrition means we're going to try anything and hope for a result. Like a lot of my clients say, you know, I try everything, but nothing works. Well, that's because everybody is different. If you were to take 5 people and line them up in a row, and you gave them all the same magic berry juice, the first guy would probably say, oh my gosh, this makes me superhuman. I have more energy and I can get through the day with all kinds of energy. The next guy might say, yeah, I feel pretty good. And maybe the next guy would say, you know, I didn't really feel anything. And maybe another guy might even say, I kind of felt nauseous. That's because we're all unique. We're all different. No 2 people are alike. Unfortunately, this kind of blind nutrition can also make our body become more toxic because we're not always sure what we should and shouldn't be putting in our bodies. It also is very costly to keep up this type of wait and see or try and error type of nutrition. On an average, it's really expensive. I should know. This is what I call the wasteland of broken promises. I've tried everything. All I keep doing is throwing money at it, hoping for a result, hoping to get somewhere where it's going to make a difference in my health. You know, let's take a minute and let's focus on you for a second. Sit in your chair, kind of wiggle your shoulders a little bit. Take a deep breath and exhale. And I want you to think about all the different things that you struggle with right now. For instance, maybe you're tired or stressed, or maybe you're dealing with a blood sugar issue, or maybe blood pressure or a weight issue. Think about all the things that you have to deal with on a daily basis to be healthy. Now, out of all of those, take the one that keeps popping up the most, the one that bothers you the most, that always comes up. Now imagine what it would feel like if you didn't have that issue anymore. Imagine what your life would be like if you didn't have to deal with that. That's the difference between knowing and not knowing. But how do you know? Well, we now know that we can find your DNA blueprint, and it's pretty simple to do. By taking a very simple non-invasive swab test, submitting it to a HIPAA compliant, CLIA certified lab. That means your results and your information stays private. It doesn't end up out there on the web somewhere like some of the other DNA companies have shared. And then they can put it together. What they do with it now with the technology that's available is they can take technology and science and nature, and they can compile what we call the algorithm of you in a single report. This is part of a 35-page DNA report on you personally. The way this report prints out is it offers you the scientific name or the SNP of each gene. It then takes the common function, which is stuff that we can all understand, like healthy inflammatory system, blood pressure, weight management, stress levels, cholesterol, all the different things that we know because we've talked to our doctors about them. And then in this final column, it tells you what you have and don't have. For instance, if you have a green dot, you did not inherit this weakness from either parent. If you have the yellow dot, you inherited it from one parent, and you should be aware. Now, if it's red, you inherited a weakness from both sides of your genetic download. And remember, just like that dashboard on your car, that flashing red light, this is something you should do something about and be proactive about it. Now, through the study of nutrigenomics, which is the study of nutrition and genetics, we now know that we can change these variants through nutrition. And there are ways to do this. Let's look at this a little deeper. For instance, let's say this particular one, your healthy blood pressure. Someone who has this report and has a yellow variant, which says there's a weakness. You may not always show signs of having high blood pressure when you go to the doctor, but it's always a little shaky right there. Wouldn't it be nice to know now and start supplementing with the right nutrition to help that gene become stronger and potentially not become an issue for you as you grow older? I know I'd like to know. What about something like finding the other weak links? I don't know about you, but when I went to the doctor told me I needed to take more vitamin D because my blood work said so. Well, blood work is a snapshot of how your body is functioning right now. It changes all the time, but it tells you how it's functioning right now. So I can flood my system with a bunch of vitamin D. I can get injections. I can take pills, go back a month later, and they'll say, oh yeah, you've got vitamin D in your system. It looks good. And yet, if I were to look here at this VDR gene, the vitamin D receptor in my body, it's a weak link. So it doesn't actually need vitamin D. It needs something else in order to make the receptors in my body accept vitamin D and to put it into process where it's needed the most. Now, we won't tell my doctor, but when I found out this, I got on my supplements to support my D receptor. I didn't take vitamin D like he said, but I'm not going to tell him that. Next time I went back into the doctor's office, got my test results back, he goes, yep, keep taking that vitamin D. It's doing great. I didn't have the heart to tell him I wasn't taking it. But it's okay, because what I needed to do was to support the right gene in order for the vitamin D to show up in my system where it needed to be. Now, how can not knowing hurt us? Well, let's take a look at this gene, healthy cholesterol. It's called the PO1 gene, your cholesterol oxidation. Now, we talked earlier about CoQ10. Well, CoQ10 is supposed to be for a healthy heart and healthy cholesterol. Well, here's the thing. If your gene is red in this cholesterol, if you came up with a red variant, meaning watch it, you need support here, absolutely, you would need 50 milligrams of ubiquinol, which is CoQ10. But here's the problem. What if your SNP is green? You need the opposite of ubiquinol. You need ubiquinon, which is the opposite. So taking CoQ10 is actually doing the opposite to that gene and hammering away at it. And you're putting stuff in your body doesn't even need or want. And now you're causing a strain on your body to detox that and to constantly move it out because it's excess. It's excess. When all along it's sitting here going, but could you please just give me what I need? I need ubiquinone. And yet we don't know that. This is where not knowing can make a difference. It can make a huge difference in the longevity of your health. One of the things that people ask me now is, okay, Judy, then why doesn't everybody have this test? Why aren't the doctors running it? Well, for the longest time, these types of tests are very, very expensive. They averaged about $4,200. And then you have to have someone come read them. So they were only for the rich and famous. And once somebody came and read them, then they would also have to start putting together a program for you. They'd have to start pouring different jars of supplements down, putting together nutritional plans, actually putting together eating programs for you. And it becomes very complicated and very overwhelming and expensive to put up with this type of a product and to put in all of these different things into place. You're talking thousands of dollars a month. So for most people, it wasn't affordable or sustainable. So what's changed? The science, the software, and the technology that it needed to make this affordable. We now know that we can take your personal DNA report. We have the software and the technology to put it together with over 100 plant-based, peer-reviewed, science-tested plant nutrition and create a formula that matches your personal DNA. Currently, there's nearly over 400 million different formulas that are possible based on your personal DNA. So imagine taking all that information and putting it together and creating one single supplement, one formula with your name on it just for you that matches your DNA, and yet making it something that's affordable, a lot less than what we were paying before just on our blind nutrition alone. It saved me over $600 a month. But let's take it a step further. We also know that over time, our telomeres, which are the little tiny ends of our DNA strands, start to deteriorate, shorten, and fray, kind of like the end of a shoelace. We now know that by adding AC11, we can rebuild these telomeres, strengthen them, and lengthen them. In addition to that, we can also support some 250 additional snaps in the brain, functionary and inflammatory systems. This is like the next edge of technology and health. If you want to take your health to the next level, you're going to have to go to the blueprint and pull your genetics and really see what it is. Don't let the fear of knowing stop you from going, because I think the biggest waste is to not know something really simple that you can do on a daily basis to make your life better, healthier, and to give you more longevity. So the biggest question is, what's next? What do you do with all this information? Well, if you decide you want to get a DNA test, I can put my information in the chat and you can reach out to me. If you just have more questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me and schedule a consultation. One of the things I do know, though, is in today's changing world, with all of the challenges that we have in our health and all of the different things that are coming into our life on a daily basis, we need to do everything we possibly can to allow our bodies to be as strong as they can, to support them and to fight and to be prepared for whatever's out there. It's your health. You get to choose. Make sure that you choose to support your health at the best way you can, and make sure you guys live life to the fullest. That's my wish for you. Michael?
Thank you, Judy.